Welcome back inside the MMA War Room with Shrikar Gendron. I'm Sam Corcoran. Chris not here today, but we have a big card to break down. UFC is back in Brazil for the first time in 2025. Been a minute since they've been in Brazil. I think the last time was UFC 301 back in May of 24. And they're back in Rio this time. I believe that's where they went for. Is that where they went for 301?
I think it was. Yeah, it
I want to
was.
say it was Rio, but they're back in Rio. Oliveira and Gamrot, the main event of this fight. Shrikar, your overall thoughts on this card?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of narratives running through the card. Obviously, you have Charles Oliveira in the main event, fighting in his home country for the first time in a while. Co-main event, Deiveson Figueiredo and Montel Jackson. We'll see if Unk still got it or if Montel Jackson makes his mark. And then obviously featured bout Vicente Luque and Joel Alvarez. Alvarez's first fight at welterweight. Let's see if he can take down a guy who in his prime was legitimate in Vicente Luque, but we're going to see how washed he really is. But I think it's a good card. I think it's a good fight night, and it should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I mean, it's a great main event. I think this is the first time we've seen Charles Oliveira not on a pay-per-view in multiple years. I'm looking this up right now. I meant to put this in my notes. Charles Oliveira has not been, the last time he was not on a pay-per-view was March of 2020. It was in Brasilia. This was the last fight before COVID, I believe. He was fighting Kevin Lee, and he won due to he gilly choked him to win in Brasilia, in Brazil's capital. Since then, he's never not been on a pay-per-view card. So an unreal run from Oliveira coming to an end, but more to do for him. Main eventing in his hometown, in his home. I don't know. Is Rio his hometown or is it Sao Paulo?
No,
I want to say it's Sao. I think it's Sao Paulo, but in his home country, I should say. A lot of Brazilian fighters on this. Let's get going right away. Luan Lacerda, the Brazilian, taking on Saimon Oliveira. Two Brazilians in this one. I'll go first because this is going to be pure jiu-jitsu. We're going to see this a lot. I mean, a lot of these Brazilians are jiu-jitsu guys. And frankly, I'm just going to choose the better jiu-jitsu artist here. It's Luan Lacerda. Much better on the ground, in my opinion. I think this one stays on the ground. I think he gets a sub. I'll make it pretty quick. Luan Lacerda by submission.
Real quick, if you're new to the channel, we didn't mention this before, but if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe, turn those post notifications on. Obviously, this is our prediction videos, but we live stream. We do a whole bunch of stuff on the channel, and we're not stopping. So, all right, yeah, now let's get into it. Both guys winless in the UFC. Oliveira's 0-3, Lacerda's 0-2, and let's be real, the loser's probably getting cut after this. I am also siding with Luan Lacerda here. He's got the more well-rounded skill set, better wrestling, and enough striking to get respect. He's long and fights with more composure. Oliveira, on the other hand, is reckless, chin up, and his defense looks like a crash test dummy half the time. Like, he's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not helping him win fights. This is the kind of low-level brawl where the grappling could cancel out, but I think Lacerda lands a few takedowns and gets it done on the cards. I will go Luan Lacerda by decision. Lacerda money line, I think, is sitting around minus 250. Actually, let me pull the odds up while I'm at it.
It is minus 250.
What is the over 1.5?
I do not know.
Let me check on the over 1.5 real quick because I think it's a little bit more favorable if you're
over 1.5 is minus 138.
Yeah, that's a hammer. I think this goes to decision. I think Luan Lacerda gets it done.
Yeah, I like that bet as well. Even though I have the sub, I think it's probably going to be a longer fight that we see. But let's move on from bantamweight to women's strawweight, the loaded women's strawweight division, as I like to say. Julia Pilastri against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Got it. Tried. We always try with these Polish names. Always get me. I think Gamrot's going to be easy to pronounce though. Gamrot. Anyway, Shrikar, your pick for this one.
Yeah, this one's a classic prospect versus veteran matchup. Julia Pilastri's being fed a name here. But man, that line is crazy wide. She's around minus 535. And I don't think she's that far ahead of Karolina. Still, I'm picking Pilastri. She's got that forward pressure, fast combos, and a willingness to eat one to give one. Karolina's pushing 40 now, and while her volume is still there, I just don't think the pop is. The pop is not there anymore. I think Julia walks her down, lands the heavier shots, maybe even mixes in some top control if it goes there. Karolina could steal a round, with cage control or activity, but I don't think she can match Pilastri's physicality or pace. So I'm going to go Julia Pilastri by decision. Again, Pilastri money line is minus 535. I would not parlay this. I wouldn't play this at all, really, just because it's kind of up in the air. Maybe look at Fight Goes the Distance. I'll check on that for you real quick. Fight Goes the Distance is... it's not great.
Will the
either.
fight go the distance? Is minus 360. Yeah. I'm not
worth it either.
I'm not really putting any money on this fight. I do agree with you, Shukar. I think the odds are a little inflated, in my opinion, for Pilastri. With that being said, I do think the odds are telling something that Pilastri will win this fight. I also have it going to decision. But this will be a good one. I think the odds are a little misleading for this one. But give me Pilastri by decision going up against the vet. Moving on, this fight got canceled. Walter Walker versus Muhammad Usman. Unfortunately, yeah. I was excited to see Walter Walker. I can't lie, Shrikar.
I was gonna go with Walter Walker by heel hook.
Yeah, I feel like that was the only option. Let's move on though to Lucas Rocha and Stuart Nickel at the flyweight division. Both of these fighters know a lot about winning, but both coming off losses. And this is going to be a close one, in my opinion. The odds are minus 22 favoring Rocha. Nickel plus 100 right now. And this is close. You got two good fighters that can do it both on the feet, on the ground. They can do it everywhere, man. I am personally right now, this is a tough call, man. I'm leaning Nickel right now. So I'm going to go Nickel, and I'm going to go by knockout. I think this fight, the fact that they both have power in their hands, they're both great on the ground. I think whoever lands that first shot is really going to have a major advantage and just take the fight from there. Probably a TKO rather than a knockout, but could be like a ground and pound. You're on the ground, give a chance to ground and pound and get the other guy out. But I'm leaning Nickel right now, who I believe is a better striker. So that's kind of where my pick lands. So give me Stuart Nickel by TKO.
I'm picking Stuart Nickel as well. I'm going to pick him by decision. Rocha's undersized and gets out-grappled all the time. Nickel got subbed in his debut, but I think he learned from that. I think he's going to mix his takedowns, control the pace, grind Rocha against the cage, and bank 3 rounds of control time. I think this is going to be a smart, patient, dominant decision for Stuart Nickel.
So both in agreement there. We're 3 for 3, Shrikar. No Chris to see if we have any parity. We'll post the predictions after if you follow the Instagram. We post all our predictions, all 3 hosts included. So if someone missed a podcast, their predictions will still be on. So make sure you guys go check that out. But let's move up to the bantamweight division. Bia Mesquita making her UFC debut, taking on Irina Alexieva. No picture available for Mesquita when I pull it up. Shrikar, what you got for this one?
Not much to say here. I'm going Bia Mesquita by decision. She's the better grappler, and Alexieva just isn't that good. I think this is going to be a boring one. 30-27 clear-cut win for Bia Mesquita, the UFC newcomer.
Yeah, this is a pretty boring fight. I think the UFC newcomer Mesquita also wins it. Alexieva is going to be 5-4. That's never good in one of the worst divisions in the UFC. So I think Mesquita, definitely a great prospect. But this is going to be a decision, a great grappling fight for her, I should say. And this should be a dominant one. Pretty boring, in my opinion. But moving on, we are flying through these picks just two. This is a good one, though. Vitor Petrino taking on Thomas Peterson. Both guys coming off wins. Both guys with under 3 losses. It's looking really good right now. Both knockout artists. The odds right now say Vitor Petrino will win this fight, minus 300 odds right now. It's closer than I think. I think the odds are a little closer. I think they're giving Petrino a little bit of a home field advantage. But nonetheless, I do think he's the better fighter. And I will pick him. But don't discredit Thomas Peterson. I do think he's a good fighter as well. I just think Petrino's a little higher than that.
Vitor Petrino is terrifying at heavyweight. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that too.
Dude looks like a sculpted tank, like 250 pounds, and somehow still quick and explosive. He's got knockout power. He's got a mean streak. Thomas Peterson's tough, kind of like that. Like he's a wrestler, but he's hittable. He's very hittable. He'll pressure. He'll look for takedowns, but he's way too willing to trade punches for a guy going against someone like Petrino. I think Peterson has moments early with his wrestling, but once he gets clipped, it's going to be lights out. I'm going to go with Vitor Petrino by first round knockout. And if you look at the odds,
I like that.
Vitor Petrino by knockout is plus 125. That's a binky right there. The under 1.5 on the fight is plus 155. Another binky if you want it. But I'm going to go first round knockout for Petrino.
Yeah, Vitor Petrino. There's actually you can bet on FanDuel by the minute. First minute round 1, fifth minute round 1, third minute round 1, which would be kind of crazy to bet on, but might be worth sprinkling a little dough on that, So that's what I'll say with Vitor Petrino. Now we move on to the flyweight bout: Jafel Filho versus Clayton Carpenter. Shrikar, another close one. A lot of these, I feel like a lot of these prelim fights have been pretty close so far. A lot of pick'em odds. What you got for this one?
This is a tough fight.
Yeah.
I'm leaning Jafel Filho by decision, but it's close. Filio's fought better competition and almost finished Muhammad Mokaev. I think that means something. Carpenter scrappy, definitely has cardio, but Filio is more dangerous in the grappling exchanges. He'll threaten subs, and I think he will edge a decision. Round 2 is a swing, but I think Filio's activity and I think the overall finishing threat is going to win him the fight. So give me Filio as the underdog.
I'm also going Filio here, and it's close, I will say.
Dang.
I know we're
I guess we're not getting parity here.
I know. If Chris was here, I don't know, but my thing with Filio here, I think he's a little better on the ground than Clayton Carpenter. Scrappier. Clayton Carpenter is the scrappier fighter, but I think when you watch the tape, I think Filio is the more technical fighter, and I think that's going to help a lot. And one of Clayton Carpenter's best traits is his cardio, like you mentioned, Shrikar. In a 3-round fight with another grappler, I don't really think that cardio necessarily matters as much. If this was a longer fight, then sure thing, it matters. And I think Clayton Carpenter probably will take round 3. But at the end of the day, I think a more technical fighter like Jafel Filho can get the first 2 rounds, get those early rounds, be up on Clayton Carpenter. And Carpenter, this is where the scrappiness comes back towards the end of the fight. It comes in just like you can stay alive. The cardio comes in towards the end of the fight. So if this fight went a little longer, I would pick Carpenter, but I think Filho gets it done in the first 2 rounds, enough so where he can win this by decision. But I will point out, if Filio's struggling early on, put money on Carpenter. It is not going to look good for Jafel Filho if Clayton Carpenter.
See, but by that point, I think the odds would have completely swung because Carpenter.
They would have, yeah. I mean, they would have swung, but I feel like if Filho loses it past the before the second round ends, it's not going to be looking good for him. He needs to win the first 2 rounds to win this fight. It's a tough task. I think he gets it done though against Clayton Carpenter, but I feel so iffy about that one, man.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. It'll be tough.
Yeah, man. Is this the quickest time we broke down prelims, Shrikar? Under 15 minutes on a podcast?
Yeah, I mean, it helps that we're agreeing on everything, but like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I can't say anything like to argue because I agree with all the picks.
Yeah. And I will say, I guess we can stretch this a little bit as we move on to the main card. Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell Jr. Shrikar, there's a lot of fighters on this card who lost their last fight. That's one thing I'm noticing early on.
Yeah. With Almeida and Aswell, this should be a banger. I think this is going to be a contender for fight of the night. Almeida's got that crisp Muay Thai, heavy hands, good straight shots, and Aswell's a pressure machine, loves to brawl, loves the phone booth. Aswell is going to move forward nonstop, but I think that's exactly what Almeida wants to happen in this fight. He's going to counter him, and he's going to steal rounds. So I think Almeida's experience will shine here, especially at home in Brazil. I'm going to take the dog money on Lucas Almeida. I'm going to pick him to win by decision. Fight goes the distance is minus 150. I think that's another good bet. But I will take the live dog in Lucas Almeida.
Man, Michael Aswell and Lucas Almeida. This is a good one. Like you said, Shrieker, Aswell is going to attack. And I think that works out very well for Almeida. like you, I think another thing that we need to look at too, if Almeida counters, Aswell's chin is pretty tough. He absorbs a lot of punches and he knows how to stay up and be okay. He can last the distance. Almeida can last the distance. I think this is fight of the night, personally, when it's all said and done. And I do think this goes the distance, or it's a contender for fight of the night. There are some other ones up on the main card I want to talk about as well. I'm going to go Aswell here. We'll have our first parody. Why not? I think just the fact that he's going to be Almeida's going to be very defensive in this fight from what I see. And Aswell is just going to be walking towards him, throwing punches. He throws a lot more punches than the majority of UFC fighters. I'll pull up the stats right here. Significant strikes, lands at 9.1 punches a minute. This guy just throws hammers, and he only wins by decision or knockout. Like, he's just throwing jabs, wearing his opponents down, and the opponent wants to fight back. He's got a tough chin for that. So Almeida's really got to land something for that to happen. You look at the grappling, though. It's not great for either. I know Almeida has won by sub before, but these are two boxers at the end of the day. And I think Almeida, it's two boxers that don't have wrecking balls in their hands. Like, they come at you, they throw slight jabs. Almeida's probably more likely to knock you out with a
no. Almeida's got power. Almeida does have power.
I mean, they both have power, but it's like they're also guys that can they can just run you down throughout the fight. We'll put it that way.
And I think Almeida's just better in that regard. If we're asking who's going to wear the other down throughout the fight, it's going to be Lucas Almeida.
Oh, I think it's going to be Aswell. I think Aswell wears him just with more punches and a stronger chin. I think Aswell just wears him down a little bit more, and that's kind of why I'm going with him, Shrikar.
Oh, we'll see. I think at the end of the day, Almeida is going to land the bigger shots, and I think that has to count for at least something. Because it's one thing to pressure, but it's another thing to be consistent. Like, it's Pico and Lerone. Like, it's cool to pressure and all that, but like when you get consistently countered, the first counter that like really, really lands and is the biggest shot of the night could really put you down. So we'll see how it ends up. But I think Almeida's in a pretty good spot here.
Yeah, it's going to be a close fight nonetheless. I'm very excited to see this one happen. Let's move on to another fight I'm excited to see happen. Ricardo Ramos and Khan Ofli. Two more guys coming off losses, Shrikar. I mean, everyone's coming off a loss in this fight.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go for this one. This is going to be a close one. Like this, I could really see this going either way. This could be knockout. This could be sub. This could be decision. When I look at Ramos, I see his ground game a little bit better. And it's not necessarily the wrestling. It's just being on the ground. He can defend himself. He can turn defense into offense. He can use offense to wear down his opponent. And that's why I'm going Ricardo Ramos by submission here. I think Ofli's a good fighter, but at the end of the day, I think Ramos he has that ability to just flip it if he needs to. And I think against a guy like Ofli, I think it's a really good matchup for both of them. Fairly even. I think Ramos can get it done. The Brazilian taking this one.
This is the spot where I think Ricardo Ramos finally looks like the guy we all thought he'd be a few years ago. He is creative, and he has some of the best spinning elbows in the division. Khan Ofli's fine, like, solid wrestling, pretty basic striking, but he is not on Ramos's level technically. Ramos can hang in the scrambles, and he's got the power edge too. So I'm going to go Ricardo Ramos by knockout. And I think he does it. If we want to go really, really, really specific, we've been seeing a lot of spinning elbows lately. I think this is your best shot at seeing a spinning elbow knockout, at least on this card. If we look at Ramos to win by any knockout, submission, or DQ, so Ramos to win by finish, it's plus 200, which is really, really good odds. And I want to find the under 2.5 as well, because, here we go. Under 2.5 is plus 110. So I think either of those would be great value bets. I think Ricardo Ramos will get this done by knockout. I think he is going to put out Khan Ofli. And I think he will do it in very stylistic fashion. This could be a performance bonus in the works here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good main card, street card. It's a lot of underrated fighters, in my opinion. And then, obviously you have Figgy and Oliveira and Gamrot, like the best of the best faces of the UFC in the past. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of underrated fighters, close matchups, which moves us to the next fight. This one's virtually a pick 'em at this point with Jonata Diniz with the slight edge over Mario Pinto, the Brazilian versus the Portuguese fighter. This one's going to end by knockout. I think it's very safe to say. I would be shocked if this doesn't end by knockout. Diniz had a very impressive win at UFC 317. Shrikar, you were in attendance for that.
Yeah.
I forget who he beat, but I remember he was
Uzi Hines.
Yeah, was he a dog in that? I remember. Am I tripping?
No, Janice was a heavy favorite.
Oh,
Hines was making his MMA or UFC debut.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Now that you bring that up.
Yeah.
But this is going to be close. Shrikar, I'll let you go for the pick for this one. Who you got?
Yeah, two Brazilian heavyweights or actually Pinto's from Portugal. So two heavyweights looking to make a statement. And honestly, this one is a sleeper pick for fight of the night. I honestly think this one could go the distance if it,
Wow.
It could. Janice is former kickboxer, used to be in Glory, but he is hittable. And I think Mario Pinto is a little more well-rounded. He's fast for a heavyweight, and he throws tight, technical punches. Pinto is a dog right now, plus 115. I think he might surprise people here. I think he is the sharper fighter all around. I'm going to say Mario Pinto gets it done by knockout. And I think he'll get it done in round 2. Obviously, the Pinto money line will be a great bet here. Under 1.5 is plus 175. I think that is another good bet. If you think if you're on Sam's side and you really, really think this will end in a knockout, take that under 1.5. I think that could be good. But I will go Mario Pinto by KO.
You're still in my lines, man, with that under bet, man. I was going to say that. That's a good bet. Man, this is a tough one. I'm leaning Pinto right now. I think I'm going to go with Mario Pinto. Like you said, Shrikar, just the faster fighter. And frankly, I remember when Diniz fought at UFC 317, I wasn't all that impressed by him. I think that was just the fact that he was just such a heavy favorite. And I thought he could have done better. Expectations were high for him there. This one, though, it's really a 50-50 coin flip. And I think Pinto is just a bit of a better matchup, a little lankier, a little faster. But this is a great heavyweight fight overall. Mm-hmm. Really could go either way. So give me Pinto by knockout here. Shrikar and I in agreement on that. And then this next one. Oh, man. Yeah. Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. Luque, the vet, 23-11-1. Joel Alvarez moving up from lightweight to heavyweight. Alvarez is a minus 560 favorite right now. That's a little shocking to me. I'm not going to lie. And I know Luque is kind of on the down. Alvarez is on the up. I am picking Alvarez here. I was just a little. The only reason to say I was shocking. I think I was a little surprised that a guy like Luque was being that disrespected here. But Joel Alvarez is the real deal, man. He's 22-3. He's moving up from lightweight, where he absolutely dominated there. I didn't see anyone slowing him down, honestly. No one slowed him down. I think this is a bit of a mismatch, honestly, too. I think Alvarez right now is miles better. I think this is a fight down for Alvarez. But, again, he is moving up to welterweight, so it's a little bit different. But I think he gets this one done pretty easily. We'll go Alvarez. We'll go Alvarez by, let's see. What do we want to go Alvarez by? Let's go Alvarez by submission here.
All right. This one's low-key good. The welterweight division is already jam-packed with killers, and now Joel Alvarez is moving up to add even more chaos to that division. Went 7-2 at lightweight. Alvarez finally testing himself at 170, and stylistically, he's got a lot going for him. Then across from him, you've got Vicente Luque, a guy everyone knows and respects. Still only 33, but he's been through absolute wars. You can see some of that mileage showing these days. Prime Luque was a savage, elite jiu-jitsu, and a willingness to throw down in the pocket with anyone. If this was 2019 Vicente Luque, this fight would be a toss-up.
Yes, without a doubt.
He had the kind of danger everywhere on the feet, in scrambles, on the mat, that could give Alvarez real problems. He's also one of the few guys who would actually understand and respect Alvarez's jiu-jitsu enough to survive it. But that version of Luque just doesn't seem to be around anymore. He's slower, and he's not as sharp defensively. Meanwhile, Alvarez feels like a newer, cleaner version of what Luque used to be. Long, technical, dangerous everywhere. He's got the range control and probably the better durability right now too. So this does feel like a changing of the guard type of fight. I think Joel Alvarez will take over here, and I think he does it violently. I will go Joel Alvarez by TKO or knockout. I think he is going to get it done pretty violently here.
Dang, I was muted. I'm a little sick. I'm under the weather, so trying not to bring that on air. But I was muted. I was like, damn, okay. I did not see that coming from you, Shrikar. I thought, I mean, Alvarez is great both on the hands and feet. I know he usually wins by sub. And I think Luque is good enough to evade. I think Luque is good enough to kind of evade the knockout and get on the ground and force Alvarez to take him on the ground. But if the minus 560 favorite for Alvarez is real, I think that just screams knockout. I'm not gonna lie. So if you're buying the
Alvarez to win by knockout is plus 140 and his sub prop is plus 165.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm still going by sub here. I personally think. It makes sense. It kind of makes sense because if you're buying the minus 560 hype, the heavy favorite,
essentially he's going to win by finish.
Yeah, essentially. But what I'm trying to get at is I think if you're buying the extreme favorite for him, I think knockout makes sense. I'm a little more confident in Luque, and I think that's where the sub comes into mind. So really just depends on what your confidence in Luque is for your pick, I think. But yes, to win by finish, I think that's a lock of the night. All right, we're flying through this. Let's move on to the co-main event, Deiveson Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. I'll start with this one. And we kind of attested to what we think. Shrikar and I have kind of already attested to what we think this fight's going to be. I think I know what Shrikar's pick is. And I think he knows what my pick is. But to put it simply, Montel Jackson is on a tear. I need to find how long his win streak has been. Because he has been winning. He's 16-2. He is on a 6 fight win streak right now. 15-2. My bad. And he's finally getting a ranked shot. Which I think was about time. He's in the rankings. And he's getting it against one of the best Brazilian fighters the UFC has ever seen in Deiveson Figueiredo. They both fought on the same day back in May. One won, one lost. The one that lost also got pretty badly beat up. They tore their ACL. Deiveson Figueiredo tore his ACL in May. You're coming back in October. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're rushing it, dude. Respectfully, this feels like sheep being led to the slaughter here. I'm not gonna lie. The fact I understand Deiveson Figueiredo wants to fight in Rio, but you got to slow down. At Figgy's age, where let's be real. The washed rumors are coming up for Deiveson Figueiredo. He hasn't done much at bantamweight since moving up from flyweight. He's injured. Montel Jackson's on a tear right now. I think Montel Jackson gets this done. I think he honestly, I'm going to be honest, I think he knocks out Deiveson Figueiredo. This just seems like a blowout here.
This is one of the tougher fights for me because I love Figgy. Really? But man, 5 months removed from a torn knee ligament. You said it yourself. That's way too fast to turn around. Montel Jackson's huge for 135, 5'10", long reach, great athlete. And I think he picks Figgy apart from range. I don't think this is going to be a knockout. Prime Figgy could have won this with one of those hooks he likes to throw when he blitzes in, or he likes to throw the calf kicks and then transition it into a sub. But this version of Figgy, post-injury, slower, smaller, I think Montel just controls the fight. I will say Montel Jackson wins this by decision. Jackson money line is minus 325. If you want to use that as a parlay piece, I think it could work. The over 2.5 is minus 195. That could be another potential parlay piece if you want.
Jackson by points. Jackson by points is plus 120. Jackson by KO is plus 310.
Yeah, I think he's going to get it done by decision. I don't see this ending early. If Jackson plays it right, he will literally just keep Figgy at the end of his jab, keep him from closing the range on him, and he can because he has the size advantage. He has everything going for him. And again, very long reach. So he'll just use that jab.
5-inch height differential. Reach differential is also over 5 inches, actually. This is just a bigger fighter. Like I said, Shrikar, it just feels like this is sheep being led to the slaughter, unfortunately.
I wouldn't even say it's sheep being led to the slaughter, but it's like it's not a favorable matchup for Figgy. Like if it was sheep being fed to the slaughter, it'd be like Luque and Alvarez. But like I don't think this is the same. I think Figgy does have a path to winning this. It's just going to be hard for him to find, actually find that path and execute it within the actual fight itself, just because he's at such a major physical disadvantage.
With you on that completely. Moving on, the main event. Number 4, Charles Oliveira. Number 8, Mateusz Gamrot. Shrikar, I'll let you have the floor for this one to start off. What you got?
Yeah, we know the story. Charles Oliveira took that brutal loss to Ilia Topuria. He is stepping back into the octagon way too soon. Way too soon. But the good news is he's not fighting Rafael Fiziev anymore. So the chances of him paying the price for that quick turnaround are way lower this time. Oliveira is still one of the most dangerous submission artists in MMA history. His transitions, his finishing instincts are just world-class. On the other side, you got Mateusz Gamrot, an absolute enigma. Like he is a top-tier grappler who doesn't play the typical control game. Instead, he actually prefers chaotic fights where there's a lot of scrambles, a lot of reversals, those wild transitions where both guys are fighting for inches. We saw that in his fight against Arman Tsarukyan. We saw that in his fight against Dan Hooker. He is always going to be in a chaotic fight. There's always that chance that Oliveira gets caught again. Gamrot's low-key got some power, and he lands from like very unorthodox angles and strange positions. So if Charles is not careful early in this fight, it could go south fast. But I don't think that's the most likely scenario. If this turns into the kind of, as I mentioned, scrambly, high-paced fight that Gamrot usually creates, that actually favors dobronx. Or I should say the Predator now, as Oliveira wants to go by.
God.
Which
I have some thoughts on that, by the way. We'll talk later. Or do you want to talk about it now?
Oh, we'll talk about it now. The thoughts are pretty apparent. I don't know why, but he doesn't understand. It's okay. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. It's okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like times have shifted. Oliveira thinks he struggled recently. He wants to change it up. Like this is a new start for him. This is just the final push,
Yeah, but dobronx just had that was one of the best nicknames in the UFC.
Oh, so
good.
Well, the Predator is also Ngannou. That when I think of the Predator, I think of Francis Ngannou, not Charles Oliveira.
Well, that too. But anyway, Charles Oliveira's version of the Predator may not be the Predator that we think of when we think of Predators. We'll just put it that way. But
you do not have to say that.
We're leaning towards it the whole time. You have to bring it up. We brought it up with Ngannou too. But I think it also could be like a situation with Topuria, because Topuria switched his nickname initially from El Matador to La Leyenda, and everyone hated him, then he changed back. So it could be one of those kind of scenarios. But Oliveira is the sharper striker when he is leading the dance. And if he can force Gamrot into the clinch or into those chaotic exchanges, that's where Charles really shines. On the mat, both of them are submission threats, but Oliveira definitely has the deeper arsenal of chokes. And I think he actually hunts for finishes way more often. So the pick here for me is going to be Charles Oliveira by submission. And I'll say he gets it done with a Darce. It is his favorite choke to use. I think this is classic Charles Oliveira chaos leading to another vintage finish. He is going to get it done in front of his home crowd. The crowd is going to go crazy. I think this is going to be a vintage Charles Oliveira finish here.
Man, that would be something. This is going to be a fun fight, man. Like you said, Oliveira back home after a brutal loss. If he gets a win, that crowd is going to go bananas. He's going to have the entire country on his back, the entire arena on his back. Everyone's going to be going for him. You have him and you have Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot's great. I feel like he's one of the more underrated fighters at the lightweight division. He has power in his hands. He can grapple. He has cardio. He could do it all. He's 25-3. His ability is going to win him this fight. I have Gamrot by decision. I am not done with my analysis, though. I just want to point that out there. Gamrot is winning this fight because Gamrot is the better fighter. Gamrot's ability is better. It's nothing against Charles, but I do want to point out some stuff that's also making me lean Gamrot on Charles Oliveira's from Charles Oliveira's side in this virtually pick-em fight. The odds right now in FanDuel, -115 for Gamrot, -111 for Charles Oliveira. This is the closest fight we've seen all year long. Main event fight we've seen all year long, I should say.
Is it?
It might be. I don't know. When was the last time we had
is it?
A virtual pick-em? It's literally a 50-50 coin flip on the odds.
Well, I'm going to go back and try and
you look that up. Let me finish my analysis on Charles Oliveira, who, if you guys went back and watched our episode for UFC 317, I picked Topuria in that fight. We all picked Topuria in that fight because Topuria is Ilya effing Topuria, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. But I also brought up, I have not been impressed with Charles Oliveira recently. UFC 300 was not great. He loses to Arman Tsarukyan, loses a title shot there.
In a fight he could have arguably won.
In a fight he could have arguably won and just didn't. Yeah, he could have arguably won. It was a split decision fight. Close fight, but still a loss is a loss. Then he fights Michael Chandler, wins by UD. I still just wasn't impressed by that fight. I thought he could have dominated that fight more. He just didn't have that it factor that I really wanted from him to see from him. And then he gets knocked out cold by Ilya Topuria. Knocked out cold. You've never seen Charles Oliveira knocked out cold. An already struggling Charles Oliveira gets knocked out cold and comes back 3 months later. To me, that raises immediate red flags for me.
There we go. Max Dustin was a pick'em.
Was it really?
I think so.
Okay, that shocks me. That shocks me, honestly.
Well, because in hindsight, yeah, but you all picked Dustin Poirier to win.
I low-key picked Dustin because of the aura, man. It was too storybook.
I think a lot of Pereira Ankalaev 1 was a pick'em, I think, too.
It might have been, actually, now that you say that. Because I remember Pineda opened as the underdog and then kind of moved up.
Wait, Imavov and Kaio was a pick'em.
Oh, that was a pick'em too. Yeah. I think this is the closest one with both fighters having minus odds, though.
Imavov and Kaio, they both had minus odds too.
Okay, maybe they did. I don't fully remember. I think when we recorded it, one had plus, but odds always shift all the time. Anyways, with Charles Oliveira, just his recent struggles and the death punch from Ilya Topuria. I'm not going to lie, and I hate to say this, Charles Oliveira is washed. I'm putting the washed label on Charles Oliveira. I am very sorry to all the Charles Oliveira fans out there that are screaming through their computer right now. I would not be surprised if this is it for Charles Oliveira, guys. I'm not going to lie. You're fighting in Brazil. You're on you can see, you can kind of feel that his career is just slowly waning down, man. He's not the same fighter he used to be, plain and simple. And I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. As one of the most beloved fighters in the UFC, I really hope Charles Oliveira proves me wrong. But I am picking Gamrot for this fight. I think this fight goes to decision. And I do think Oliveira puts up a test. He's not an easy guy to beat. Let's be real. I don't think when was the last time he was submitted? Has he ever been? By Islam Makhachev, obviously. But that's Islam Makhachev. At the end of the day, I think it might be over for Oliveira, and I honestly think this is a great time to walk away. If you lose this, win or lose, honestly, I think that no. If you win, you keep fighting for that title. You're close. You're probably a fight away if you beat Gamrot.
If he beats Gamrot, it's going to be him versus Holloway for BMF. No doubt in my mind.
Oh, yes, for sure. And the winner of that gets a title shot.
Yeah.
And the winner, yeah. I mean, and then you have 3 title eliminators at lightweight, man. That's going to be fun. And Gamrot also could be on the title eliminator soon. Maybe he fights Holloway. Maybe it's not for BMF. Could be for BMF. I don't know.
Do not do Holloway and Gamrot.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't scream BMF,
fight.
You know. What I originally wanted when Fiziev was on the card streaker is I wanted the winner of this fight to be I wanted this fight to be a BMF title eliminator because I think Fiziev is BMF worthy. I think Oliveira is BMF worthy.
See, I agree with your whole analysis surrounding the fight. And okay, yeah, Charles Oliveira is coming back too soon and all that. But I would have agreed if it was Fiziev. If this was still Oliveira and Fiziev, I would have picked Fiziev to knock him out. And I think he would have done
I would have done
like
the same.
2 or 3 rounds. But with Gamrot, there's nothing coming back at Charles that should really, really scare him.
You bring up a good point, because here's the issue with Gamrot versus Fiziev. And this is why I think Charles Oliveira does have a chance. I do. And for the record, I feel confident in my Gamrot pick. I do want to say I would not be surprised if Charles Oliveira wins this fight, because Gamrot's the type of guy that's going to go 5 rounds. That's why I have decision for Gamrot. The longer you go in the cage with Charles Oliveira, the more of a chance you're giving him to win the fight and turn it around, and pull out something straight out of his ass. But I just think overall, where those two are at right now, I think Gamrot's just the better fighter, plain and simple.
I tend to disagree. I think even at this stage in his career, I think Charles Oliveira is the better fighter.
And to be fair, I do want to credit to you, Shrikar, because
Gamrot beat Ludovic Klein.
Exactly.
Nice. And then he lost to Dan Hooker the fight before. What made that, what makes that better than Charles Oliveira?
And that's the other thing. It's just Oliveira's fought better competition recently. He's more battle tested than Mateusz Gamrot. I also think the fact that Gamrot can just last so long in the octagon, can do it all, both on the ground, wear and tear, cardio, submission, ground game, fist, whatever you want to call it. I just think that overall skill set for a guy who's wearing down like Oliveira is not a great matchup.
Is he really wearing down though?
Is Oliveira really wearing down? Absolutely.
Yeah, I just broke it down.
So. I think Oliveira is absolutely wearing down. Charles Oliveira has not looked like the same Charles Oliveira since he fought Beneil Dariush. That was the last time we saw the prime Oliveira.
Split decision loss. I mean, sure, out of prime, but it's not like he's wearing down, because split decision loss to Arman Tsarukyan. Nothing to be really, really ashamed of there.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Michael Chandler he beat.
I thought he could have been a lot better in the Chandler fight.
He won. He won the fight.
I thought he should have won a lot. I thought
we all knew he was going to get.
I've been on a limb that said I know Oliveira won that fight, but I thought he should have been a lot better against Chandler. And considering where Chandler's gone after, it's not looking great. That win just gets worse and worse for Oliveira.
I don't know. I'm just looking at Gamrot's resume right now. Lost to Beneil Dariush at UFC 280. Beats Jalen Turner by split decision. Was losing to Fiziev before Fiziev got injured. Beat Rafael Dos Anjos. Dos Anjos is very, very old. Dan Hooker he lost. Well, he did that a long time ago. But Dan Hooker he lost to by split decision, and then he beats Ludovic Klein. So it's I'm not
I do agree
by that.
And like I said, Shrikar, I agree. I'm not too enthralled by that either. I just think in this matchup with a guy who I'm going to go to the bank and say I think Charles Oliveira is wearing down. I have not been impressed by Charles Oliveira since his Beneil Dariush fight, straight up. And again, that is also due to the fact that Oliveira was once the number 1 pound for pound guy in the UFC, in my opinion, at one point in his career. You could see, I just feel like we've slowly seen him decline. Whereas Gamrot, just a well-rounded fighter overall, I just don't love those odds for Charles Oliveira. I'm going to be honest with you. Against a well-rounded fighter,
I love it. I'll be hammering it. I can't wait to get Charles at underdog money, but we'll see, man.
It's worth it. I mean, it's a pickup, dude. It's a pickup for a reason. This is why we come to the war room, Shrikar. We have these debates on these pick'em fights. One person clearly thinks there's a better fighter, and the other one thinks there's another. I love it. I think this is going to be a fun fight. I really people are going to go into this not knowing who to pick. And I don't really think this discourse. I honestly don't think this discourse helped. But
no, guys, pick Charles Oliveira.
No, pick Gamrot. Pick Gamrot. I laid it out for Gamrot. The Gamrot heads, I laid it out for y'all. I'm telling you, Gamrot's the right pick. But we'll see what happens on Saturday night in Brazil, 7:00 Eastern main card, and we'll be back on Sunday to break down the card. Shrikar, we're gonna have to see. The receipts are gonna come up for this one. I feel like. I'm curious to see who Chris has in this fight because
it's actually interesting. I might not be there for the recap because I'm going to be out of town, but Sure. If you want to
Oh,
bring up the receipts either way, go ahead.
the receipts will be brought up one way or another.
It's
I will
all on
take
YouTube
full.
anyway, so you guys have visual receipts.
Guys, I said the W word to Charles Oliveira. I called him washed. I'm gonna have an apology to owe if he wins. To put it straightforward, I owe someone an apology if Charles Oliveira wins.
Start writing it now.
Nah, we'll wait. We'll wait. I think Gamrot gets it done. But that's gonna do it for this episode. Actually, before we end this, Shrikar, any final thoughts on this card overall?
Yeah, this card should be fun. It'll be a wild one for sure. Let me know your picks in the comments. Go ahead and drop them below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. And I will see you all next week. I will be streaming next week. I'll be out of town for the recap, but we'll have that up for you very soon. So yeah, much love. Peace out, and enjoy the chaos from Brazil.
Should be fun. We're going to be doing a lot, guys. So make sure you sub, click those, follow the socials. We're doing a lot, guys. We're growing this out. TikTok, I know we've been slacking on that. We're growing that out a little bit more. Usually we want to record. We're recording this on a Thursday right now. Usually we want to record these on Wednesdays. But schedule-wise, didn't work out this week. Next week it will. I probably will not be part of many streams next week. I am busy as a bee right now. We'll put it that way. So, but Shrikar, Chris, they'll be holding down the fort for y'all. So make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Follow us on socials. We will see you, or I will see you on Sunday for the recap.